What's up, guys? Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas here with you today. We're going to take a few minutes to highlight another player who maybe is not one of the biggest expected contributors on the team or one of the guys that we're going to hear so much about camp, but somebody who's intriguing. He's got a cool story. I want to highlight one of those guys every day as we get closer and closer to the season. Yesterday it was freshman defensive back Selman Bridges. Today it's freshman, I guess, wide receiver Monte Harrison. I cannot get enough of this story. It's so cool. Monte Harrison, 6'3", 230-pound freshman wide receiver. And I use that term loosely because we're talking about a guy here who is coming off of a 10-year career as a professional baseball player. It's such a unique story. He had a couple cups of coffee in Major League Baseball, played with the Miami Marlins in 2021, played with the Los Angeles Angels in 2022. It's really cool. He's getting ready to turn 29 years old. It's a unique story in and of itself, but then you wonder, is this a gimmick type thing, or can this guy actually play? And the coolest thing about it is we've heard now from multiple position coaches who have talked about him as well as the guys on the team, but he is a wide receiver. So let's hear what Ronnie Fouch, wide receivers coach, had to say about what he brings to the table and if he could maybe actually see the opportunity to get on the field a little bit this season.
Monte's been impressive. I was unsure coming from baseball how in shape he would be, how he'd handle a full practice, and he's done a great job. He's strong, he's physical, he's still learning releases and stuff like that, a little raw and some technical things, but he's progressed every day of camp and developed those techniques that he's missed out on for a couple years. But he has the natural talent, the burst, the strength, and the strong hands.
I should look this up. Do you mind if I ask you how old you are?
I'm 35.
Okay, so you're only 6 years older than Monty's fixing to be.
Yep.
Do you coach a guy that's older like that any different? Or I guess, have you ever coached an older guy like him?
I have. I coached in a professional league, and there was some quarterbacks that were near my age. And at the end of the day, everybody just wants the knowledge. They want to be coached. And coming from baseball, he's eager to learn more and more about football, being away from it so long. And there's just a different level of maturity. He's played in the professional league, so he acts like a pro. He takes care of his body. He studies, he takes notes, so it's great for the young guys to learn from him on how to be a pro.
Is he a guy that could realistically figure into the rotation, or does he maybe pretty rusty, or how do you see that?
Realistically, I think he can. I mean, he's flashed throughout camp in these first couple days, and he's definitely wowed us on a couple plays. I mean, he can go up and high point the ball. He's so strong. He can play through contact from a defender and really use his power in the run game as well. I'm trying to motivate him to do more. Use his size, use his power in all facets of the game.
And that makes sense, right? I mean, we're kind of talking about a guy who was an outfielder as a baseball player, so it stands to reason he's got good instincts, good tracking ability, and probably some pretty good hands there. And needs to refine some of the things like route running, the smaller details and everything like that to really kind of work his way up that depth chart. But how cool would it be to see him have a moment, a big catch, a big play? It'd be pretty awesome. I think the other thing that goes a little bit undervalued when you have a guy like this is the mentality he brings, the leadership, the maturity, and the approach that a lot of these young guys can look to him and say, you know what? It's not the NFL, it's Major League Baseball, but he was a pro and he knows how to carry himself that way. Not only do I like that, but I also like hearing from some of the guys on the team, the other wide receivers in that room who were talking about him and saying, hey, he's an old head. He might be turning 29 years old, but we treat him just like everybody else. So that balance between letting him be one of the guys, but then also looking to him as someone that you can have some respect for, some trust in, and kind of model your approach as an athlete and an individual after. Pretty cool.
Older teammate, Monty, getting ready to turn 29. Maybe just whoever wants to chime in. What are your thoughts? How's he fit in, and kind of what's it like having a bit of an older guy?
He can catch the ball. He has crazy ball skills, and he's not really used to running routes and stuff, but I mean, he can catch that ball for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have someone with experience. Obviously it wasn't the NFL, but playing in the league, he's obviously got a lot of wisdom and experience. So just listening to him and the different advice he's got.
And I know it's a big age gap there, but we treat him like he's one of us, so
sure.
Definitely one of the guys.
Now we know Arkansas is pretty deep at wide receiver. In fact, every reception by a wide receiver at Arkansas last season returns this year. We're talking about guys like Andrew Armstrong, Tyrone Broden, Isaiah Satania, Isaac Tesla, Jaden Wilson. The list goes on and on and on. So it's going to be hard to find a consistent spot in that rotation for a guy like Monte Harrison. What are some other ways that he could possibly make an impact? Apparently special teams is going to be one of those, which I'm fascinated to see. We heard from Scott Fountain a few days ago who said Monte Harrison came to him and said, Coach, if I can track a fly ball, I can track a punt. Wants to get involved in the return game. He's a pretty big guy for a punt returner, but could it happen? Maybe so. Any way that we can see this guy get on the field to increase that aura and that story, I'm all for it. I think it's very cool. Here's what Fountain had to say.
Been using Monte Harrison back there a little bit, trying him. He's a big kid, punt returner and kick returner. So I meet with him one day in my office, and I'm saying, okay, he's 29. I said, he brings that punt returner, and I go, golly, man, you're a pretty big guy. Can you do that? He said, Coach, I play professional baseball. I'm a center fielder. I can track a ball down. So I said, okay, you got a good point.